We are live.
All right. Welcome to the regular meeting of the City of Bethlehem Zoning Board. My name is Peter Schneck, and I'll be serving as chairman this evening. Serving tonight along with me is Paige Van Wart, Sharon Wiles Young, and Danielle Joseph. Our zoning officer tonight, our zoning officer and tonight's secretary is Dave Taylor. Sorry, I ran in here. Our solicitor tonight is attorney Eric Schock. And our stenographer tonight is Miss Moira Evans. At this time, if there's any members of the audience who might have testimony, questions, and or comments, please stand and be sworn in.
Audience member. Okay. All right.
Raise your right hands, please. You do swear or affirm that the testimony which you shall give in the matter now before this board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You do so swear or affirm?
I do.
All right, and our first appeal tonight is 2966 Linden Street. Oh, do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me just make that announcement. So, am I on? Yeah. The regular composition of the board is 5 members. We are without one of those members, so we have 4. I make that announcement because to have your appeal granted, you need a majority. So in the instance of a tie, 2-2, that's not a majority. So contrary to baseball where the tie goes to the runner, it goes against them in this instance. So the board will generally say if you have a significant concern that you need to have all 5 members, then we would allow you to request a continuance, and the board will generally grant those. And however, you'd have to sign a waiver of potentially sign a waiver from the opening of the hearing, which is otherwise required within 60 days of when you file your application. And we would schedule you at a date when we knew that we were going to have all 5 members. To conduct business, the board only needs a quorum, and that's 3. So 4 is a quorum. But so I would ask, is there any applicant that has a concern with proceeding with a 4-member board? Speak now or hold your peace. Mr.
No, on
Preston?
behalf of 2966 Linden Street, no problem proceeding.
Okay. And then when each person comes up successively, if you can just confirm that you will proceed with the 4-member board, and we can put that on the record, I would appreciate that.
Yep.
Back
All
to
right.
you.
Cool. So the first appeal tonight is 2966 Linden Street. Mr. Taylor, if you could read the facts.
2966 Linden Street, the appeal of Dwayne Wagner on behalf of RDD Apartments LLC for a dimensional variance from required lot area per dwelling unit. 2,000 square feet required, 1,978 square feet proposed, to permit the conversion of the existing model rental office to an additional dwelling unit. Section 1302.41, 1306.01 H4, 1325.06, and all associated variances, special exceptions, and interpretations.
All right. Just confirm when the property was posted.
November 23rd.
You can proceed.
We're ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, very good. We have an exhibit package. You want to hand that up? All the exhibits are marked. They begin with A1. What I'm just going to do is give to your zoning officer something I've marked as A0. It is the posting. You have that for your file.
Thank you very much.
So while the exhibits are being handed up, for the record, my name is Jim Preston, and I represent the applicant here this evening. What we're here for is we're requesting a variance as your zoning officer said, for one reason only, and that is to exceed the permitted density. I believe it's by the magnitude of 1.1%. So let me do this. I'm going to call my first witness, who is Mr. Dwayne Wagner. Dwayne, please identify yourself for the record and tell us what your connection to this appeal is.
Dwayne Wagner, Easton, Pennsylvania, and I was the developer on the property and have a role in the management and operation of the facility as well.
And you've been in front of this zoning hearing board before, is that correct?
I have,
And in particular for this property?
yes,
I believe we were last here for a fence in what was your front yard and someone else's rear yard?
that's correct.
Remember
Yeah,
that? Okay. And you were able to testify in each of these instances before the board as an expert in real estate development, is that correct?
correct.
So let's begin with what we're asking for. They have the application. The application had a project narrative that was submitted with it. I'm assuming the application is part of the record. In going over the narrative before we came down here, there seems to be one adjustment we need to make to it. Is that correct?
Yes,
So the way this is laid out is the first paragraph identifies the property. The second paragraph talks about the density calculations for units per lot area. The third paragraph talks about parking. And we need to clarify something that appears in the second paragraph. And that is where we identify the density calculation. Will be going, if we're allowed to put this additional unit in, from 2,010 square feet per unit to 1,978 square feet per unit. That's correct, is it not?
yes,
The next segment of that section says that a variance of 22 square feet or 1.1% from the existing density. That's not entirely correct, is it?
correct. It's missing the word requirement. It should read a variance of 22 square feet, 1.1% from the existing density requirement.
Okay,
It's just-
so there's a slight difference in the existing density and the existing density requirement, just for the sake of,
So the number would be slightly higher if you measured it from 2010.
yes.
Okay.
Rather than a deficit of 22 feet, it would be 32 feet
Gotcha.
per unit. Okay, and with that clarification, we're ready to go ahead and take a look at the exhibit packet that's in front of you. First of all, that's correct, what I've said. That's all we need here tonight.
That is correct.
So let's run down through the exhibit package. A1 is called the neighborhood aerial, and again, we're creating a record. Tell us what we're looking at here on
This-
exhibit A1.
This is an aerial photograph. The subject property is outlined in a red line, roughly outlined. It's not surveyed mark, but it's the basic property boundary. The north is on the left side of the page. So to the north, you have a strip center, which is the white building. There's three little white squares. That's a strip center. Then further to the left, you'll see another apartment building and another small strip center where the Anatolian Kitchen's noted. To the top of the page or the east of the property is a condominium association. Those are the condominiums, portion of the condominium units located on our boundary. Then there's some more towards the top of the page that are cut off. To the south or right-hand side of the page are two single-family homes. And then to the west or bottom of the page is the commercial uses. There's a gas station, tobacco vape shop, beer distributor, beverage distributor, and a bank
Okay.
along Linden.
Okay, and the subject property contains the apartment use. It's the subject of this appeal. Is that correct?
Correct.
Let's flip over to the next exhibit, which is A2. What are we looking at here?
This is a colored site plan that shows the location of the apartment building. That's the large rectangular shaped building on the right-hand side of the page. The tan colored building to the left of that is the gas station. That's in the cutout there. And then there's in the upper left corner is a proposed restaurant pad that has not been built. We own that. RDD Apartments owns that property, and it's currently just a seeded grass lot at this time.
Okay. Now, it's sort of an irregular shaped lot, and then it comes in off of Linden Street down that throat where the restaurant is,
Yes,
turns and goes back, and that's where the apartment building is located.
correct.
Now, the apartments that are there now, how many permitted units are there?
61.
Okay. And there's also a model unit, is that correct?
That's correct.
That model unit is not included in the 61.
That's correct.
The model unit, is it able to be used as an apartment?
Yes.
Let's take a look at A3. Now, A3 there's subparts to A3, goes A31 through A312. So in other words, there's 12 sheets. I'm going to ask Mr. Wagner to go through those and explain what exactly we're looking at. And if you'll do that now.
Okay.
Right.
So A31 is an interior photograph of the corridor, the interior corridor of the building showing the outside of Unit 110. Unit 110 is the unit that was designated as the model. So that is the 62nd unit. So that's the exterior of it. It looks just like every other apartment in the building. There's a blue, dark blue offset, a number plate for the address, and a light next to the door.
Okay.
The next picture shows another interior of the corridor that shows the multiple units going down. You can see there's blue colored areas. Those are where each apartment door is. What you're looking at on the left is again Unit 110.
Okay.
This is a shot of the interior corridor going in the opposite direction. So this is standing in front of Unit 110 looking the other way. The elevator's there, and then immediately to the left or just beyond the elevators, an exit to the rear of the building, and then immediately to the right-hand side is a hallway that goes to the front of the building.
Okay. A34.
This is walking into the unit. That's blue door is the entry door. What you're looking at here is those double doors have a washer or dryer in it, and you can see you're going to enter into the apartment by walking past that.
Okay. A35.
A35 looks at I opened up the door so you can see the unit is complete, washer and dryer sitting in there. And then on the right-hand side, you have a pantry door. That's where you see the hinges on that portion there.
A36.
So this is looking into the unit, just beyond the washer dryer where you walked in. This is the part of the kitchen area, and then the living space, and then there's two doors next to it. That's the bathroom and the bedroom going into there.
A37.
These are the doors you see, the one with the light on. This is standing in the kitchen looking into the unit. The bathroom has a light on. That's the lighted one. Then there's the bedroom next to that. And then next to that, going towards the exterior wall is a door to the patio or balcony. In this case, it's a first floor, so it's a patio, but it's a typical balcony type outdoor area.
A37.
A37 is standing on the other side of the kitchen island. You can see this kitchen sink, range, refrigerator, microwave, cabinetry, everything is done in the unit.
Okay. And A39.
A39 is just another photograph of the living space.
Sure.
Right now, you see some tables and chairs, and it's being used by some of the employees as a lunchroom or what have you. So it's really just a storage and lunch area.
Okay. A310. More
The same thing, just another photograph of the living area showing it's a complete unit.
A311.
This is the bedroom unit, ceiling fan, blinds, completed bedroom, and then there's also a walk-in closet in this unit.
Okay. A312.
This is the bathroom in the unit. You can see it's finished, mirrors, sliding shower door, toilet, vanity top, shower tub.
Those are all from the unit for which we're requesting the ability to use it as an actual living unit.
That's correct.
It looks like you could use it today as we speak.
You could walk in tonight and set up shop.
Okay. And why is that? Why does it look like an actual unit?
It was designed to be a model for people coming in to be able to see a unit that were interested in renting one of the units if there was a changeover going on or something like that. So it was just a model.
This is a relatively new project.
It is. It was completed in certificate of occupancy was issued in December of 24,
Right. And we'll get
November
To
of 24.
that. We'll get to that in a minute. And did you expect to be sitting here this evening? Well, let me ask you this. Is it leased out?
It is. 100% of the one-bedroom units are leased, and there's, as of 2 weeks ago, there were 4 two-bedrooms left. So 57 of the 61 units are leased.
And did you expect to be sitting here this evening able to say that this apartment building is almost completely leased out?
No, we expected we'd
Sorry,
have
I didn't
the,
hear that last.
Almost completely leased out.
Thank you.
Yep. I apologize. Go ahead.
we didn't think it would lease up as quickly as it did. There's been a strong demand for apartments, but we're fortunate that it has leased up the way it has.
Okay. Let's keep moving. I know parking's always an issue, especially when we get to these types of requests. First of all, does the uh, the project as it sits today, is it compliant with respect to parking?
It is.
If the board were to grant the requested relief and you were to put another unit in here, would the project still comply with parking?
Yeah, there'd still be an excess of parking on the site.
Okay, well, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at A4. Again, it's a set of 3 exhibits, A4, 1 through 3. Let's take a look at A4, 1. What am I looking at there?
This is an aerial photograph taken the morning when I posted the property. So Sunday morning, the 23rd of November, just showing that there's ample parking still available throughout the site.
Okay, and just in case everybody was at the 9 o'clock mass, let's take a look at A4, 2. What are we looking at there?
A42 was taken Monday evening, November 24th. Again, there's still excess parking there.
Okay, so you have it both computationally in accordance with the ordinance.
Yes,
You have it in a very practical sense as well.
correct. Yep.
And A4, 3, what am I looking at?
A43 is Tuesday morning. So we have a weekend daytime, a weekday evening, and a weekday morning. I tried to make sure we tried to get a cross section of just showing that there's an excess at any time of day right now on the property. Excess parking.
Let's start bringing this to a close here. Let's take a look at A5. A5 is zoning data, density, and parking information. Okay, do you have that in front of you?
I do.
Why don't you run through that and explain to the board exactly what this exhibit is intended to show?
So A51 just explains shopping center district. The lot area is 122,610 square feet. The requirement is 2,000 square feet per unit. The existing units, there's 61 apartments. So the existing density of 122,610 square feet divided by 2,000 square feet per unit is 2,010 square feet. So we exceed the minimum requirement of 2,000 square feet. The requested unit shows if the 62nd unit would be granted, that would be the conversion of the model to a rentable unit. The requested density would be 1,978 per unit, which is, the math is under that 122,000 divided by 62. So if we divide the requested density of 1,978 by 2,000, it's a request of 22 square feet or 1.1% of a variance from the required zoning.
Okay. So,
And then there's a second page to that if you want me to go through.
yeah,
that.
go ahead.
That talks about parking. So A52 discusses the parking. The parking requirement in the CS district is 1.75 spaces per unit. Based on our existing unit count of 61, we would be required to have 107 parking spaces. That's 61 units times 1.75, rounds up to 107 parking spaces. The required parking for the requested unit, the additional unit would take us up to 109 parking spaces. The existing parking on the site, there's 133 spaces. That's broken down between 15 that are required for the restaurant. If that's ever built, we need to set those aside. That leaves 118 parking spaces for the apartments. So based on the current density with 61 apartments, you take the 133 parking spaces, subtract the 15 for the restaurant, subtract the 107 required, that leaves us with a surplus of 11 parking spaces. If we're granted the 62nd unit, then our surplus would go from 11 spaces to 9. So we still have an excess of 9 parking spaces beyond the requirement for the apartments and the restaurant.
Okay, you don't anticipate any problems with parking.
I do not.
And finally, A6. What is A6?
A6 is a copy of the certificate of occupancy. And what this shows, I put a chart at the bottom because when you look towards the middle of the proposed use section, section 22080330, it says install 93 tubs, 95 lavies, 95 water closets, 62 kitchen sinks. What this is meant to show is that when the building certificate of occupancy was granted, the inspection was done for the entire building. So all 62 units were inspected and granted occupancy.
we're not claiming that gives us a right to put in 62 units.
That's correct. That's why we're here. Yes, we're asking for that ability to do that. But you can see if you look at the red box at the bottom, there's 2-bedroom and 1-bedroom unit types, and then the model unit, and then there's a community room leasing office that's there. So that's how we get to 95 water closets or toilets. There's 64 in the 2-bedroom apartments because there's 32 of those. There's 29 in the 1-bedrooms. There's 1 in the model unit, and there's 1 in the community room area. So that just shows that the entire building was inspected and granted the right to be occupied in accordance
That
with
the
the zoning
facilities that
ordinance.
are in that unit, the unit that we're seeking relief for.
Meet the
up to
life safety
code.
requirements of the
Okay.
code. Yep.
Okay, very good. And this is the only thing we need is this dimensional variance from density to pull this off. Is that right?
That's correct.
And if we do that, we'll be exceeding the required density by, was it 1.1%?
By 1.1%.
Okay. Can you think of any negative externalities, any negative impacts if you were allowed to do this?
I cannot.
Okay. I have nothing further.
Questions from the board?
I have just a quick question, sorry. Did this, I wasn't on the zoning hearing board when if this originally came before the board, or was this built as of right?
We
Special exception. I believe.
we had a variance for the length of the building.
Yep, that's right. There was a
Length.
variance for the length of the building. That's correct.
I guess I'm just trying to understand your thinking. Why did you, I mean, clearly you probably anticipated at some point this building would be leased out and that you may need to not have a model unit anymore and that unit would be converted into. So why not just ask at that time for,
We
Instead of
did.
coming
We
back twice.
at that time, we did have it set aside for a model unit because there's other apartment communities that are partnered with the owners of the property. So we thought it would make sense to have this as a central, and a lot of the leasing for those other properties gets done here. So it's sort of a central location. And that's why this was determined to put a model here. And the way the building laid out with 61 units, we couldn't build the way the floor is laid out, there's 16 on the floor. So you have that extra unit. So we built it as the model. We couldn't chop off a portion of the floor.
oh, sure. No, I guess what I'm hearing is you didn't anticipate not needing to use this as a model unit.
We did
as
not.
much
No,
as
no.
The demand has surged. Thank you.
Thank you.
So from the interior of 110 there what's across the hall there? Is that the leasing office?
Yeah, there's a small fitness facility where the glass doors are, the
Oh,
storefront.
that's fitness.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
fitness area. Yep. And then right next to that is the leasing area and community room.
Okay. And there's another apartment just down.
Which picture, just so I can make sure I'm looking.
Sorry, A32.
A32? Yeah, the blue beyond that, yep, that's
Okay.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I guess my questions are kind of in lines with Paige's. Like this is a new building with a new design. And so you designed it with 62 units.
Almost by default because of the way it laid out with 16 units per floor. So that's what we designed that as a model because it was basically another unit. It was built as 62 apartments, one of them being a model. And they're just, it's the demand has continued so much that there's not a need for a model because people are just, they're just taking units as they're available because there's such a shortage of supply. So we're looking at it as it's sitting there doing, I mean, you can see from the pictures what it is. It's literally a place where people are sitting and having lunch. People aren't even coming in to see them as a model anymore. They're seeing pictures online of a unit and they're signing a lease before they even see the unit sometimes. It's just a different world from where it was when we planned this 3.5, 4 years ago.
Yeah, it looks like you were actually on the plan that's on the screen. You were here back in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 3 variances that we granted. I think we denied some of the dimensional variances during that appeal, but you didn't ask for a density variance at that time.
We did not, because we were just planned to use it as a model. And that's why it's located, it's the first unit when you come in off the entrance as well. So it's not a unit we stuck in a corner. It's a prime location. It was just, we assumed our model, if you will, was that we would need a model unit. And that just isn't the way the world's going anymore with these.
I think you were here, I don't know, a few months ago on another one of your properties where there was like a storage unit that you converted into.
Yeah, that was an existing building that was bought it with another portfolio. It's one of the, call it sister properties, if you will, that I was referring to, that operations come out of the property management office here. That was on Mary Street. Yeah.
Mhm. So similar type scenario.
No, I don't know the history of that, 'cause I think that was built in the 60s. So that was just built. The property was purchased, and that unit or that area was sitting there as a maintenance facility. And there's no kitchen in there. There's no inspections that have been done on that. That's going to have to go through the permitting process to even do the construction there. This is a little different in that it was designed from the beginning to be a model unit.
Have you considered any other uses for that model unit?
I don't know what you would do with a fully completed apartment other than ask to put somebody to live there. Yeah, there's not really a compatible use. And we have from a retail or restaurant side, we have the pad out front, and it's a unique site from a commercial use standpoint. So there's not really I wouldn't know what you would put in there as a.
Does it share a wall with another apartment? Could you make a bigger apartment?
It shares a wall, but because all the infrastructure's in, if we took a wall out, we'd either have to take the bathroom out, which leads to the bathroom on the other side, because they're back to back. So that would destroy both bathrooms. Or you take the bedroom out, which is back to back to the bedroom. So you really wouldn't be able to combine it into a larger one without, and then you'd have two kitchens and that sort of thing. So you can't just double it and make it bigger.
I know this seems like a minor request. It's small, but this is your third time here for this property, and this is a new design.
Well, the second one was for the fence. That was just
Yeah,
that was.
I'm saying this is a new building. You designed it for what you said was going to be 61 units.
Right, and there was in the 62nd unit, again, the way the building was, you're stacking the units on top of each other. So
I get
if we
that.
didn't do a model unit, which we thought we needed, because it's just typically you build a model for people to come in and see, that's why it was designated as a model at that time.
But you're testifying it was your intent that you thought you were going to need a model unit for its.
Yeah, it would have been a permanent model just to show people typical finishes, typical apartments, all that. That is 100% my testimony. Originally was designed to be a model unit.
Okay. That's all I had.
No questions.
Any questions from the audience? All right. Statements from the audience. All right.
Have anything else?
No, we would move for the admission of the
They're
exhibits.
admitted.
And I would point out that it's, I believe, a relatively minor deviation from the density requirement. That's all I have.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go off.
Yep.
All right, this time we'll go back on the record. If I can have a motion from a member of the board.
Sure. In looking at this, we were a little unsure why this wasn't included before. However, I moved to grant the variance because it's de minimis.
Second.
Mr. Schneck,
Yes.
Ms. Wiles Young,
Yes.
Ms. Joseph,
Yes.
Dr. Van Wert.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, 4-0.
Thank you. And the rule among the bar is that when the judge rules in your favor, you shut up.
Yes.
So I'm not going to answer your question tonight. but-
Yeah,
Sounds
yeah,
good.
yeah. That is how it is, Mr. Preston. Yeah. Don't snatch defeat from the jaws of victory by opening your mouth, right? So,
Okay, thank you.
see ya.
Watch out for the snow.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see.
All right, the next appeal this evening is 601 Apollo Drive.
601 Apollo Drive, the appeal of Lawrence Bradford and Andrew Goodersman. I apologize for a variance to permit a shower in a detached residential accessory building, a pool house. Sections 1302.2, 1325.06, and all associated variances, special exceptions, and interpretations.
All right, and can you please confirm when the property was posted?
You mean the sign on the front, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
that was November 23rd. I'm sorry, can you use the microphone? Oh, sorry.
November 23rd.
Can I have your name, please?
Yeah, my name is Laurence Bradford,
Can you spell it for me?
Laurence. And then Bradford is Bradford.
And before we get started, Mr. Taylor, can you further explain their request?
Like, why is relief needed to put a bathroom in a pool house?
Well, it's not for a bathroom in a pool house. It's
Yeah.
If I can get my ordinance.
Sure.
They do have an existing pool house
Okay.
with a shower in it, if I'm correct, or they did have one. They currently have a permit to rebuild the pool house without the shower. However, 1302.02, an accessory building or use includes the final sentence, unless specifically allowed otherwise by this ordinance, a detached building that is accessory to a dwelling shall not include cooking facilities, a shower, or a bathtub, and shall not be used for overnight sleeping purposes.
Okay.
The city has fairly consistently interpreted that to mean that if you have a detached accessory structure that is accessory to a single family dwelling on a residential lot, that you cannot put sleeping outside of very specific uses like a unit for care of a relative,
Mhm.
that you cannot put a sleeping room in that structure. You cannot put bathing facilities in that structure, nor a kitchen. So generally, and actually we have another application pending before us, before zoning review, but where we would typically permit a powder room out there and a laundry tub as a convenience toilet in a detached garage or this type of structure.
Okay. So you can't put. Certainly, you can't build a second dwelling where you have a kitchen, a living room, like a bathroom and a bedroom, right?
Correct.
But the way the ordinance reads, you're saying you can't put even just one of those three components out there without it being.
Yes, because of the, yes, that.
The way it's written.
Written, yes.
Just the way it's written.
Yes.
Okay. So even though they'll have no kitchen and
Even though they'll have no kitchen, the ordinance is read as prohibiting a list of items.
List of items. Perfect. That's what I wanted.
Showers.
So I
one of
wanted
the
to
list.
clarify to the board because it's not like this is a second dwelling, but even just certain components of a dwelling can't be in the accessory building.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. You can proceed.
Okay. So this is my wife, Laurent, and then this is David Miller behind us, who is the custom builder. Chris Brown, who's our architect and the land planner, couldn't be here.
I don't know. Did we get your name and spelling? yet?
sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm Andrew Katormson.
Okay.
Okay, so so we're in the process of planning and implementing an exterior renovation project, and it includes the replacement of our existing pool house. The initial permitting process with the city revealed a concern regarding the shower that's depicted in the proposed pool house plan. The original permit submission did not include detailed information relative to the existing pool house, such as the fact that it also contained a full bathroom with a shower. The old pool house is in desperate need of updating and enlarging, and it is not conducive to renovate. So it's pretty dilapidated. Therefore, we wish to replace the pool house with a new building meeting all other criteria for an accessory structure in the district, as well as continuing to contain a shower within, like the original ones had. So the purpose of the appeal is to obtain a variance to permit a shower within the replacement pool house on the grounds that, one, it's an incidental to an accessory pool house use and a common amenity associated with such outdoor living environments. Two, the pool house is not designed or intended to provide overnight accommodations. And three, the old dilapidated pool house contained a shower that existed from the time the property was purchased. So a variance, or to the extent applicable, we're open to as permitted by special exception, obtain approval to expand, replace a non-conforming use. The non-conformity being the shower that would be continued in the new and enlarged pool house.
Oh, yeah. So if we could just pause for a second. So yeah, the pictures that you're showing, you can see the current pool house in the back. Now, there's no photos online that showed the pool house in its current state, but we did submit pictures with our application. I have some here in our file, but I think you probably have some as well. And you can see that there's a water heater and there's a shower. There's also a toilet and a sink. And yeah, basically that's what we're trying to, oh yes. And this one, I circled those for other reasons, but you can see this is when we bought the house, part of the materials that we got with the agent. It shows that there is this pool house in the back with the pool equipment, and then the bathroom with the shower is the X on that drawing. Yeah.
So the variance criteria is section 1325, 06B 3 through 5. In accordance with the zoning ordinance and PA code, the application must address specific items as applicable. In our case, we purchased the property in September of 2021. The real estate was advertised with a pool house containing a full bath. The seller's disclosure included the pool house with full bath and no indication of current zoning violation. The city of Bethlehem conducted pre-sale inspections and noted a few minor issues, but no indication of zoning violations. Therefore, the condition hardship has not been created by the applicant. The pool house with full bathroom has existed for decades and has not presented any harm or injury to surrounding properties. It is believed that the new pool house with the shower will have no altered effect to this condition. The proposed shower, albeit a slightly larger and more updated version of the original, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood, nor substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use or development of adjacent property, nor be detrimental to public welfare. The variance to permit the continuation of a shower within the new pool house represents the minimum and only relief needed. All other aspects of the proposed accessory structure are in compliance with city ordinances. The shower within the rebuilt pool house will remain undetectable to the public surroundings, just as it has been for the last 40 plus years. The special exception criteria, section 1325-07B. In accordance with the zoning ordinance general requirements and standards applicable to special exceptions, sufficient evidence shall show that continuation, replacement, and expansion of a pool house with a non-conforming shower will be 1, in accordance with the City of Bethlehem Comprehensive Plan and consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of this ordinance. Article 1323 provides for such action as related to nonconforming uses. In the best interest of Bethlehem, the convenience of the community, the public welfare, and be a substantial improvement to property in the immediate vicinity. This property will maintain the high level of amenity and value that is common among adjacent homes and has been for over 40 years. And 3, suitable for the property in question and designed, constructed, operated, and maintained as to be in harmony with and appropriate in appearance with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity. All right. So this property had an accessory building containing a full bath shower for decades. The updated design will be a substantial improvement to the aesthetics and value of the property and general vicinity. Number 4, in conformance with all applicable requirements of this ordinance. So the accessory structure will otherwise be in full compliance with all city ordinances. Number 5 is that the proposed shall not substantially change the character of any surrounding residential neighborhood after considering all proposed conditions upon approval, such as limits upon hours of operation. This proposed pool house with shower will not substantially change the character of the neighborhood. It will be the exact same size and appearance even without a shower. Number 6 is that it should be suitable in terms of effects on the street, traffic, and safety with adequate sidewalks and vehicular access arrangements to protect streets from undue congestion and hazard. The proposed pool house with shower will have no such effects. Number 7, the proposed use shall not create a significant hazard to the public health and safety, such as fire, toxic, or explosive hazards. The proposed pool house with shower will not create any hazards to the public. Number 8, the proposed use shall be suitable for the site, considering the disturbance of steep slopes, mature woodland, wetlands, floodplains, springs, and other important natural features. This proposed pool house will not disturb any such important natural features.
And I think just the last thing to mention is that all of the exhibits submitted to be incorporated into the record. So there were, I believe, 8 different things, A1 through A8.
Is this going to, just to clarify, the old one had a full bath. Is this one just a shower or is it a toilet also?
So the old one had a toilet and a shower. This
Right.
would be the same thing, a toilet and a shower.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's only the shower that needs relief because it sounds like you can put a toilet in just without a shower.
That is correct. Again, I have already issued them a permit for the replacement pool house. I don't know whether they've broken ground on it or
Right.
not, but it's just a matter of whether or not they have permission to put a shower.
Shower in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just for the record, we haven't. So everything is still there intact right
Oh.
now. The current pool house is there still. It's not
Yeah.
knocked down yet.
So, but the new one is otherwise completely in compliance, has been reviewed.
Okay.
Any other?
I think that's it.
I don't think, do you have anything to add? I
Nothing
don't,
to
if
add.
you have any questions for us or anything.
Questions from the board?
So my understanding then, if this shower is not allowed by the zoning code, that the shower that was previously there was also not allowed by the zoning code.
I did not go back to look at that to see if I don't know, this ordinance was in 2013. I didn't research back prior to 2013 to see
I
what
see.
may or may not have been approved at that time.
Okay. And, a lot of what we think about is, really following the rules of the variances and special exceptions. So I'm kind of hung up on number 2 under 1325.06, which says because of such physical circumstances or conditions, there's no possibility that the property can be developed in strict conformity with the provisions of the zoning ordinance. And a variance is therefore necessary to enable the reasonable use of the property. I think the zoning code doesn't allow a shower out in accessory buildings because that makes them much more habitable and things can happen. People can live in them and it can impact the neighborhood. And so there's a reason that that's there. And it's not just me trying to, be kind of harsh on this. So my question is, why could you not just have an outdoor shower, which would allow you to have, I believe that would be allowed under the zoning code. I mean, I would have to defer to Dave on that, of course, but like, why couldn't you just do an outdoor shower if that would allow it? Because that would eliminate the reason the zoning code doesn't allow showers out in these buildings to begin with.
I think it's not, I personally wouldn't want to, I don't think it matches the aesthetic of the property to have an outdoor shower. I don't know if it was within the code or not when we bought it, but it was pre-inspected and it wasn't brought up by the city. But I think the actual use for, I mean, one, I think if you go to a lot of nice pool houses, like the pool houses, they have a shower in them inside. I think it's a natural thing for a pool house to have a shower. I think it's very reasonable. And I think it would almost be like illogical to not have a nice shower in the pool house if we're updating it. And it's so dilapidated. We would love if it was as simple as just simply renovating it, but it's not possible because it's in such bad shape. And in terms of, how the pool house is going to be used, we use the pool every day. We have people go through, our house running in to go to the bathroom and to shower and all of that. It's just not practical. If we wanted to inhabit it, the house across the street is for sale. We could have bought the house across the street for less money than our actual addition. We have no interest in actually staying overnight or anything like that. There's no kitchen. It's simply an open space, with a nice kind of fitness center. And so, that's really it. It just, to put the shower outside would be just a worse outcome in terms of like our day-to-day lives. And we really, want to invest in the house and the town, and we want to be here for a long time, and we don't want to have to move.
Yeah, I also think, and I hope I'm going to word this correctly, but if we ever say sold the house in the future and it was used differently, you guys are within your rights to enforce the law and not allow someone to rent that out, right? We have zero plans. Of course, we would never rent it out, and we would not be suitable at all, in our opinion, for sleep purposes. But it's within your right as the zoning board to hold a future owner accountable and not allow them to do that, and to the full extent of the law. And just to echo on what Andy was saying about the outdoor shower, without getting into all the details, we have some other things. We have a hot tub. We have a playground for our daughter. I've been working on months on the design of this, and there really isn't a good place to put an outdoor shower without majorly changing a lot of the design that I've already been working on for a while. So that, and I think, as Andy said, it just makes sense. I think in a home of this, in this neighborhood, in this caliber, it just makes sense to have a shower in the pool house. A lot of houses with pool houses have a shower in the pool house.
Thank you for answering my question.
If I might add, David Miller, the building contractor, I've been building for 35 years, built quite a few pool houses in different municipalities in the valley. And it is very customary to have a full shower. It's sort of the purpose of the pool house, full bathroom rather, including a shower unit. So it's somewhat unique in the city of Bethlehem to exclude that. I understand you have your reasons, but I'm just saying that it's not uncommon. Built quite a few pool houses with showers and toilets. By right.
So in your renovation, to upgrade the photos you showed here of the shower, the current shower, you're not expanding your footprint at all. It's going to be in the same footprint. Is that right? Your architecture?
No, the footprint would be bigger.
A little bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's within, the ADU ordinances or whatever the right term is. Like everything else it meets the code on. Like there's nothing else where it's not aligned with what Bethlehem's, rules are for an ADU structure.
When you stated that it wasn't going to be bigger, you were just talking about the shower or
Yeah.
Do you know how old the house is?
Yes, it was built in 1978 or 79. You know,
79.
he's 79, but I think they probably started in 78, completed in 79.
Okay. You don't know how old the pool house though is?
It was built at the same time
Yeah.
as the,
Oh, okay. And then, do you know how old's the pool? It was at the same
put
time
in.
also,
I have the
because I assume you
receipt.
wouldn't have a pool house without a
it
pool,
was all done at the
Yeah,
same
it was
time.
done at the same
Okay.
time. Yep.
unless you're
Yeah.
very
So,
ambitious.
My childhood
Yeah.
friend lived in the home prior to
Oh, okay.
current owner, so it was built all at the same time.
And then, Mr. Taylor, did you say that rule only came up in 2013?
But the
Or you don't know?
the current ordinance was in 2013. I have in other projects come across secondary kitchens and secondary and bathrooms and such.
That predated the
That
2013
predated the
ordinance?
2013
Okay,
ordinance
got
that
it.
were permitted. I did not look into this particular
Gotcha.
one.
So, Mr. Taylor, so because they're calling it an outdoor kitchen, that it's okay because it's outside?
I would typically approve an outdoor kitchen, yes.
All right.
To me, open air kitchen is no different than having a grill. I mean,
What would make that kitchen indoor? Like if you put a roof, but all the sides were open, is that permitted?
I would still consider that an outdoor kitchen until it was enclosed. There are actually definitions in the zoning ordinance. It'd take me a few minutes to find them that talk about what an enclosed building is.
Okay. So theoretically, the shower could be roofed, but not enclosed, and then it would be treated like a kitchen.
Correct.
Okay.
So the other things inside, you have a dishwasher, you have a sink, you're showing a desk with an office chair. You've got, are those like 3 comfortable chairs?
I think it's like a table with 3 chairs and then like a gym. So there's a little gym, like with I'm not sure which image you're looking at because or what was submitted and when and what it's showing. But I think there's probably a Peloton, I'm guessing, in that, and then like a weight bench and a weight rack.
But no like couch with a pull-out bed.
No, there's no couch.
And I guess you guys use the existing shower.
In this, it's honestly pretty gross. It's like very dilapidated, this whole
Yeah.
thing now. So we don't really get to use it anymore.
Any other questions? All right, any questions from the audience? Statements? Anything in closing?
I think so.
Nope.
We'll go off the record.
Mics are coming back. There we go.
All right. At this time, we'll go back on the record. Can I have a motion from a member of the board?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to deny the variance, but grant the special exception to allow the continuation of the non-conforming use.
Second.
Oh, I was gonna say,
A second.
Oh, second.
and subject to the condition that it be the size as shown in the plans,
Yeah.
correct?
Mr. Schneck,
Yes.
Ms. Wiles Young,
Yes.
Ms. Joseph,
Yes.
Dr. Van Wert,
Yes.
4-0. The motion carries unanimously.
Good luck with
Thank
your
you.
project.
Appreciate it.
Luck.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
There, I can give you a different pen, too.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, no, my thing.
All right. The next appeal is 525 Barclay.
525 Barclay, appeal of Jack E. and Mary Ann Jarrett for a variance to exceed the permitted building coverage of a residential lot in the rural residential zoning district by 449 square feet. 15% is permitted, 17.1% is proposed in order to expand an existing single-family detached dwelling. Sections 1302.22, 1306.01, 1325.06, all associated variances, special exceptions, and interpretations.
All right. And can you just confirm when the property was posted?
I'm Jack Jarrett. It was posted November 23rd, 2025.
All right. You can proceed.
We have a series of exhibits that we'd like to hand out to the board, if we may.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Peter Lair. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Jarretts. Seated beside me is Mr. Jack Jarrett, and I'd like to ask him some questions to establish the relief that we're seeking tonight. So let me start off. You stated your name. Could you just spell your last name?
It's Jerrett.
And are you one of the applicants to this appeal?
Yes,
The other being your wife?
yes, my wife, Mary Ann.
Are you both the fee simple owners of the property that's subject to the appeal?
Yes,
So I want to show you a document I've labeled Exhibit A1. Do you recognize that document?
yes,
And is it the deed for your property?
yes, it is.
And does it evidence that you and your wife purchased the property in September of this year?
Yes, it does.
I'd like to ask you some questions related to the property and the neighborhood in which it's located. But I'm looking now at a document that I've labeled Exhibit A2, and I'm going to ask you to identify that in a moment. But can I just ask you to describe generally the property that's the subject of the appeal?
So it's a single-family home in a neighborhood of single-family homes. It's a quiet neighborhood. The street ends in a cul-de-sac. The lots generally seem to be about the same size. Ours is just about a half an acre. They've been well maintained. My understanding is that they were built by the same builder or maybe a couple of builders back in the mid 80s. Our house was built in 1985. So our house it's a ranch house with a 2-car garage, large backyard. It's a very nice neighborhood and something that really attracted us to the area.
Okay. And I'd like to show you the document that I've labeled Exhibit A2. Can you it's a copy of the county assessment report, and it shows an aerial view, a photo, and then what appears to be a sketch. Is that of your property?
Yes, that is our property.
And just focusing on the existing home itself, looking at that photo there, it seems like there's a lot of space in the rear yard. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's correct. It's has a small front yard, so it's kind of in the front of the property.
And you mentioned that it's a single story. Is that
A
correct?
ranch house, yes.
And I think you mentioned it, but are the other homes in this subdivision, are they all single-family homes,
Yes, they are.
detached?
Detached,
dwellings?
right.
Okay. To show you two photos. And I'm actually jumping a little bit because I'm now turning to the document I've labeled as Exhibit A5, but I think it's appropriate to revisit now because these are photos of your neighborhood, correct? But your house is not depicted there.
That's right.
Is it two houses over or the same side of the street?
Yes, towards the right. Looking at the picture, our house is 2 houses to the right.
But this is a depiction of the houses in this neighborhood,
Yes,
correct?
and the lots. Our lot is basically the same.
So they're an accurate representation of the types of home along Barclay Drive.
Yes, it is.
So what we're looking at is 435, 445, and 455 at the extreme right of the photo. Is that accurate?
Yes.
So can I just focus on the property to the right as shown on Exhibit A5? In terms of, well, let me just ask you to describe it. What do you see there?
Well, we noticed this house because of it looked like they've added to it quite a bit. There's a lot of space that's under roof, and so it caught our eye because we are seeking the same type of relief here, although not quite as extensive. We've spoken to the neighbor, met our neighbors. We met a lot of our neighbors, and they all seem very nice. And the gentleman that owns this house indicated that a few years ago when he did the renovation that he had gotten a variance from the same requirement.
So in terms of building coverage of the lot, what's shown at 455 Barclay Drive, that's more than what you are seeking, correct?
I believe so. I don't know the specifics, but I believe so.
So if the zoning hearing board grants your appeal and the building is renovated as you're proposing, it would really not be out of the ordinary for at least one other home in the neighborhood on your side of the street. Is that
That's correct. And there are other homes that have been obviously renovated and additions have been added. So I would say that it's not out of character, more than just on our side of the street.
I'd like to ask you some questions about the renovations that you're looking to do to the property. And can you, first of all, can you explain why you chose this particular house?
So, my wife and I are in our late 60s, and as we've aged, we've realized that stairs are becoming an increasing challenge. So we've decided that it would be in our best interest to find a home that didn't have any stairs. That would be a one-story. So we've had been looking for a rancher house for a long time, and there aren't that many out there for sale. And when they do come up for sale, there's usually maybe in a less desirable area, one-car garage, other issues with it. This house came on the market, and it's a 2-car garage, half an acre property in a beautiful neighborhood. And so we jumped on it. It was just exactly what we were looking for the most part. I mean, it needs some updating and renovation, and it was quite competitive. I think there were 8 other buyers. It sold in a weekend, and we were lucky enough to get it by using an escalation clause in our offer. So it's a very desirable property.
So when you talk about renovating it, and we'll talk about that in a second, but do you think that those renovations are necessary to allow you to age and continue to live independently?
Yeah, I think it's important that we not have to use stairs. Not so much right now, although my wife probably is is it's a little more difficult for her to go up and down stairs. But I think in the future, it's going to become increasingly difficult. So what we wanted was a single floor with everything on it and some additional space in the event we should have to go into a wheelchair or a walker. We are kind of making changes that are, we'd like to make changes that are, I call them ADA adjacent. So our master shower is not going to have a bump. So you can get a walker or a wheelchair in there if you need to. It's going to have wider doors, a little bit more space to maneuver in the event that happens. We also are expecting a possibility, at least, that if we ever have to hire somebody to come in, if one of us is surviving, or even both of us to help us, that they would at least have some overnight accommodations if they needed it to stay there. Plus, to have enough space for our children and grandchildren to visit either at the same time or separately. So that was our thinking, is really to try and accommodate our evolving age-related medical needs, have enough space. We also think the property needed some updating given its age. We think it's going to improve its appearance, the value of the property. And I think it's consistent with the neighborhood that is also in various locations undergoing renovation or has gone under renovation.
Okay. I'd like to show you a document that's been labeled as Exhibit A3, which, if you could just describe that, and specifically, we don't need to go through line by line here, but why don't you describe it and focus on the difference between the square footages there?
Yeah, so this is a calculation of the coverage that our builder put together. On the left is the existing building coverage, and on the right is what we're proposing, and it reflects some expansion of the space and some of the changes that I've been describing to update it, to modernize the house, and just make it more useful with our anticipated needs.
And so the square footage existing is that shown as 2,778,
Yes.
and then the proposed is 2,966 square feet. So not a dramatically increased footprint,
That's
given
right.
a lot.
That's right.
Okay. I want to just show, or have you just talk a little bit about the document that has been labeled as Exhibit A4, which are several sheets from the contractor who I believe is doing the renovations. But just talking about the first page, obviously cover sheet, but it shows your property in relation to others in your neighborhood along Barclay Drive. Is that right?
That's right. An aerial photo of the neighborhood.
And do you know about when your house was constructed?
1985, I believe.
I'm going to turn here to the next page, which is is this the existing floor plan as it
That's the
exists?
existing
currently?
floor plan.
Okay. And then the second page of this exhibit, is this the proposed floor plan?
Yes, that's the proposed floor plan.
Okay. Can you just describe generally, we don't need to get into various detail, but what this, what the extent of the renovations would involve?
So the primary renovation is in the upper right-hand corner. That's the new primary suite that would have the additional space and the much more accessible bathroom. We're also adding a sunroom, which is kind of in the place of an existing covered porch, so that we have a little more indoor space and can enjoy the backyard. And then the covered porch is essentially being shifted over to the left. And then the other interior changes that we're making was to add a laundry room. Previously, it was just a closet. We think that would be easier for us to use, especially as we get older. A powder room, and we've expanded somewhat the size of the front bedrooms, and in part to accommodate somebody who might have to be a live-in caretaker.
And are these renovations also, in your view, necessary to really modernize it from the original 1985
Yes.
construction?
The purpose is to modernize it, to create additional space in case we need it, and just generally update it and improve the appearance and functionality of the house.
So in order to do this, you're really tonight here seeking a single variance from the maximum building coverage requirement in the city zoning ordinance. Is that right?
That's right.
And so this is really a dimensional variance in the sense that you've seen the existing and proposed. We're really talking about a variance of 2.1%. Is that right? 2.1% over what is currently the maximum building coverage for a property in the rural residential district.
Yes, that's right.
So just asking you some questions about the impact if the board would grant the zoning relief. Can you think of any way that the proposed expanded building footprint would alter or affect the essential character of the neighborhood as you know it?
No, I can't think of anything like that.
And we talked about it, but an expanded footprint is not uncommon in the neighborhood based
No,
on your
Not that
observation.
we can see. Yes, and we have friends there that we know have expanded and modified their homes.
Are you aware of any reason on how the expanded footprint would somehow impair the appropriate use or development of any of the adjacent property?
No, I don't think it would have any impact.
Will it alter the essential character of the neighborhood and the zoning district where the property is located?
No, I don't think so.
Can you think of any detriment to the public welfare if the variance is granted and the building is expanded?
No, I don't see any detriment. I think it would be a benefit because I think it would improve the appearance and the value of the property.
One of the factors that could be considered by the board tonight, because this is a dimensional variance in order to show hardship, would be any type of impact to you and your spouse if it was denied. Could you talk about that just briefly?
Well, I think we're undertaking this because I think it would have been difficult to accommodate our possible likely medical needs, physical needs going forward. We want this to be our last house that we can stay in for a long time and hopefully avoid the need to go into, nursing home or assisted living. And we really tried to keep that in mind as we plan the expansion as things that were needed and would benefit that with the additional space and the ADA kind of adjacent approach to it.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Questions from the board? I guess my only questions are trying to figure out your expansion. Sorry. Is this kind of the existing wall line of the outside of your building at the bottom of the covered porch and the sunroom?
That's the existing footprint. That's
Just so we don't have, if I can just suggest, because we don't have multiple people talking at the same time, I'd like to just have another gentleman who's the actual builder who's sitting behind us come up and maybe he's better to answer that question. So,
Were you sworn in?
yes.
Okay.
So I know that there's a question pending, but just for the record, why don't you state your name and your employer?
My name is Jacob Trethway. I work for Pacific Construction. I am the day-to-day operations manager, and I also assist in drawing and proposed projects coming up.
Okay, just for the record, could you spell your last name?
Trethaway.
And the name of the company is?
Pacific Construction, Inc., POSAVEK.
Okay. So I'm sorry, the question was where the existing wall line is for the property itself?
So as you can see now, the 11'8" by 19'9" is the existing sunroom that bumps out of the property as an existing 6 feet and then does the 19'9" across. So we'll be encapsulating that in our new addition. There's also an existing and proposed as well here that highlights. The dark would be the new.
Like your primary bedroom and your family room, is that wall line
Yes.
stay the same?
Yes.
All right. I guess you can, and maybe Mr. Taylor can correct me. I didn't add up all the square footages, but between the new building and the old building, you're only asking for a little under 200 extra square feet?
That's not correct, no.
Do you want to use this one?
As you can see in the proposed living space, they did not include the garage or the shed, so it would be 3,655.
All right, so so it's not the 2,966 is not what needs the 449 extra square feet. Is that right, Mr. Taylor? Or what did you?
I did, because several weeks ago, I went through these numbers to come up with the 449. I ran the percentages again because I think the 17.1 wasn't initially supplied, so I did go through the numbers.
Well,
I think is what he said is that it looks like the garage.
You said it's 30. What's the new square footage? 36.
Yes, they're missing the garage and the shed, which would be additional 458.61 plus an additional 150 square feet for the shed, which give you a grand total of 3,655, which would come up with our 2.1%.
All right, so that's what it's based off of.
Yes,
It was,
correct.
yep, 17.1 off the track side. All right, I was just making sure the math was right.
Yeah,
All right.
it's there.
All right, that's all I have. All right, any statements from the audience, questions from the audience? Any other closing comments?
The only thing I would just say is, again, with dimensional variances, there are numerous factors that you can take into account when you're considering whether the applicant has met its burden. And those would include, economic detriment to the applicant if the variance is denied, the financial hardship created by any work necessary to bring the building into strict compliance, and the characteristics of the surrounding neighborhood. So unlike a use variance where we would have to show a very strict legal variance standard, as you're well aware of, we feel that with the testimony that's been presented tonight, that we have presented the necessary factors for you to consider the granting of really a 2.1% variance to the maximum building coverage.
Then that makes sense. So 423. 2. $650. Yeah.
All right, this time we'll go off the record in executive session.
Microphones are back.
All right, we'll go back on the record. If I can have a motion from a member of the board.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the variance with a condition that the building be built as shown in the plans given us tonight.
Second.
Mr. Schneck?
Yes.
Ms. Wiles Young?
Yes.
Ms. Joseph?
Yes.
Dr. Van Wert?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it'll say substantially. I'm we're not going to hold you to a half foot, but
That would be appreciated.
yeah. So I think our normal language is substantially in accordance with the plans that you showed. Okay. Yeah, no problem. I always write that in. There's no. Dave's not gonna. Pull out the ruler.
I always say I'm not going to get out there with a micrometer.
Exactly. You're okay.
The next appeal tonight is 714 Pawnee Street and 718 Pawnee Street. Mr. Taylor, if you could read the facts of the appeal.
The appeal of St. John AME Congregation for dimensional variances to permit a minor subdivision placing an existing church building and associated parsonage, each on their own lots. Lot area, 4,000 square feet required, 2,477 square feet proposed, and lot width for a place of worship, 60 feet required, 55 feet proposed, and single-family detached dwelling, 40 feet required, 25 feet proposed. Sections 1306.01A4, 1325.06, and all associated variances, special exceptions, and interpretations.
All right, before we get started, can you confirm when the property was posted?
Good evening. Yes, it was posted November 21st, 2025.
All right, you can proceed.
Good evening. Michael Raschuti on behalf of the applicant. I have two witnesses tonight for you. First is Reverend Keitha Wiggins Kennedy. She is the pastor of St. John's AME. And then we have Greg Knoll, the surveyor, to go over the dimensional variances and the requirements there. Both were sworn in. Reverend Wiggins Kennedy, can you just state your name and your business address and your position there?
Reverend Keitha Wiggins Kennedy. I'm the pastor of the St. John AME Zion Church in Bethlehem. 718 Pawnee Street is the church, and 714 is the parsonage property.
Okay.
Can I ask, is your last name hyphenated?
Yes.
Thanks.
I was just going to ask her to spell it for the.
Oh, okay,
Can
perfect.
You spell your first and last name for the record?
Kei, T as in Tom, HA, my first name. Wiggins, WIGGINS Kennedy, last name.
All right. And how long have you been the pastor at that church?
Going into my 5th year.
Okay. And how long has the church operated at that location?
124 years. The cornerstone was laid in 1901.
Okay. And the church owns both the church building and the parsonage on the parcel?
Yes.
Okay. And those two structures have existed essentially in their current footprint for their entire history? Is that
Yes.
correct? All right. And the reason for the subdivision is simply to separate the parsonage from the church property. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Does the church intend to retain the church building?
Yes.
And then what is to be done with the parsonage?
Parsonage is being sold.
And do you have people you're selling it to already identified?
Yes, the tenant that is currently renting out of the parsonage has been there over 20 years, and she has a desire to buy it.
Okay. And there's no plan to construct any new buildings as part of this request?
No, no.
And there's no plan to expand the church or the parsonage structure? Is that correct?
That's correct.
And was the property developed long before this current zoning ordinance existed?
I would think so.
Okay. And the church did not build these structures intentionally to violate the setbacks or the lot size requirements of today's ordinance. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And the lot width proposed and the lot area proposed for the parsonage are the result of the way the property was originally laid out when it was built?
Yes, the current.
And then that hasn't been changed, correct?
No, it has not.
Okay. And because the buildings exist so close together, they physically prevent the property from meeting the current dimensional requirements. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You can't move these properties, and not easily, correct?
Not
All
easily,
right.
no.
And the buildings have historic character also, correct?
Yes, the church does.
Church does, yes. And let's just talk a little bit about your neighborhood over there on Pawnee. It's a narrow street, correct?
Yes, it is.
And the neighborhood's made up of smaller, narrower urban lots.
And they pretty much all look pretty much the same, smaller lots. We at the parsonage is pretty much like the other lots on the street.
Okay.
Residential, we're the only on that street. The church is the only non-residential property there that I'm aware of.
Okay. And the proposed lots that are they're consistent with all the properties or most of the properties in the area today, correct?
Yes.
And the church has coexisted with the surrounding residential homes without issue for 124 years, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if the homes are that old, but the church has been there that long.
Okay. And separating the parsons does not change the aspect on how the property functions in the neighborhood. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And the subdivision, it will not increase traffic, will it?
No, it will not.
Okay. And it will not increase noise, lighting, or activity levels in the area.
No.
And the relief requested will not change the use of either structure. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And there'll be no additional burden on city services because of the subdivision?
No.
And this is the minimum relief necessary to legally separate the parsonage from the church. Is that correct?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Without these variances, would you be able to legally subdivide the property?
I don't believe so. It's my understanding that the lot that we have, which is a single lot, the total square footage of it does not allow for either property, whether it be the residential or the church, to actually meet current zoning codes.
Okay. I have no further questions for the Reverend.
I understand that the church is coming up 5 feet short and then the residents would be coming substantially short. But when I look at the red line, I'm just curious, how did you decide where that line should be? Like, either way you go, you're going to come up short, but
Right.
how did you decide the placement of that line?
We decided on placing that line basically
I'm sorry.
looking.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. If you look at where the side of the parsonage is there, so what we did is we looked at what we currently do, almost like is there's no line there now, what we maintain for the parsonage and for the church, and making sure that if you see where the step is right there, we just kind of walked out to make sure that it would be far enough, 5 feet beyond that step there, because when we initially looked at the diagrams, it looked what we thought that was already separated, but that was only on the diagram for tax purposes. So we basically just literally walked away from that step, giving enough room to go down the sides of the house, because when we discussed it with her going back, that's what she had anticipated the property would be. Does that make sense to you?
That answer your question.
I think so.
I think the surveyor, Greg Noll, will be able to add some more light to why they chose that.
Okay.
I just had one question. I just want to be clear. So the church building that we see in that photo
Uh-huh.
dates back to 1901.
Yes.
Does the parsonage building date back to 1901 also, or you don't know? If you don't know, that's
I
fine.
don't know, because the only thing I saw was a sale dated 1979, but I don't know if that's originally, I just searched through Northampton County records and that's what I found, but there are deeds all the way back with with that address back to 1922. So I don't really know. I couldn't make heads or tails out of all the paperwork.
Fair enough. It's,
Any other questions for?
It looks like parking is tight there. Are there parking requirements that come with either the house of worship or the?
Currently, right now, the church has, if you go, see where that truck is right there?
Yeah.
Right there, there's a parking sign that says Sundays handicap parking. So from there back to the other end of the church, see where that other sign is? So we have it's measured out to about 2 handicap spaces, and it says Sunday only, and it is already signaged. And then the current tenant also has a handicap spot that's assigned to her that's already has current signage on it. So there will be no change in what's already there for parking.
There's no parking relief being requested.
No, what we have already is what we have.
Yeah, there's
Right.
not a change of use being requested here, so parking would be grandfathered in.
I think that the planning bureau looked at it as there was no impact. There's
Sure.
there's a house there now, there's a church there now.
Right. Okay.
There'll be a house there and a church.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you state your name and address, a business address for the record?
Sure. My name is Greg Knoll, and my business address is 4383 Hecktown Road, Bethlehem, PA.
Can you spell your last name?
Knoll.
Okay. And you were sworn in previously?
Yes.
And you were a professional licensed surveyor in the state of Pennsylvania?
Yes, in the Commonwealth.
And you've testified before this board previously?
Yes, I have.
And you've been accepted as an expert on land surveying
Yes.
by them? Okay. Did you prepare the minor subdivision plan for the church?
Yes, I did.
And that was included in the application, correct?
Yes, it is.
And you have it on the board over there?
Yes.
All right. And you reviewed the Bethlehem zoning ordinance and the Bethlehem Saldo and the applicable provisions to the subdivision, correct?
Yes, I did.
Are the church and the parsonage existing structures that predate the zoning ordinance?
Yes, they do.
Okay. And have your measurements confirmed that the buildings have not been expanded in a way that affects the current setbacks?
Correct. They have not.
Okay. And the current side yard setbacks, 3 feet for the church and 2.9 feet for the parsonage, are existing nonconformities, correct?
Yes, they are, and they're labeled as such.
And the RT district requires a minimum lot area of 4,000 feet. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the proposed parsonage lot would be 2,477 square feet. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And the RT district requires a minimum lot width of 40 feet. Is that correct?
Yes, it does.
And the proposed width of the parsonage is 25 feet. Is that correct?
Yes.
So is there any way to meet these dimensional requirements without physically moving one or both buildings?
No.
Okay. And moving either building would be structurally impractical.
Correct.
Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes.
So because the buildings are fixed in place, would you say strict compliance with the lot width and lot area standards cannot be achieved?
Correct. They cannot be achieved.
Okay. And do the geometry of the existing buildings essentially dictate the subdivision line?
Yes, they do.
And how did you come to where the line was being placed?
Basically, a line of occupation and respecting, as the Reverend stated, 5 feet out from the sidewalk. That way, they both have a nice side yard, a buffer area.
Okay. And the church did not create this hardship. It exists entirely from the existing building, the existing as-built environment. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
And does the subdivision increase the degree of any existing nonconformity?
No, it does not.
Okay. And neither building will be moved, expanded, or brought closer to any property line. Is that correct?
Correct.
The only thing changing is the legal lot line, not the physical development. Is that correct?
Correct. There is no development proposed, no shovel in the ground, no additions.
Okay.
It will remain the same.
And I know you've testified before this board with me before, so you've surveyed many properties in South Bethlehem, correct?
Yes, quite a few.
Okay. And small lots and narrow lot widths are characteristic of this neighborhood. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Are the proposed lot sizes entirely in line with the existing urban fabric?
Yes, they are. They're in the character of the neighborhood.
Okay. And the variances requested, are they the minimum necessary to allow the subdivision?
Yes, in my opinion.
Okay. And in your professional opinion, will the subdivision adversely affect public health, safety, or welfare?
No.
And is the plan in harmony with the intent of the Bethlehem zoning ordinance in Saldo?
Yes, it is.
Is there anything else you wanted to discuss with the plan or point out?
No, nothing. I'll answer any questions from the board.
Any questions from the board? I would just say the neighboring properties right to the right side of it seem similar width. Is that a correct statement?
Yeah, and if you go back to plan view and zoom out, you can see all the half doubles there. Sure, they're all narrow. You know, all those roof lines are the property lines. So yeah, there's many narrow lots adjoining.
Are there
it.
any other single-family homes on that block that are similar?
I think that's 725. Yep, right there.
Right there.
Yep.
Okay, and obviously, I doubt you surveyed that, but when you look at that, would you think that lot is comparable
Yes, absolutely.
based upon the structures on either side that aren't part of it? Okay.
Yep.
And it's I don't know if you've ever been over there. It's Pawnee's a one-way road
Yeah.
there. It's pretty narrow. It's
Yeah. I actually literally turned around on it like a couple of days ago so I could look at the church. Okay, so yeah, that's probably.
Yeah, with this one, I think you're kind of, picking a line in the middle because the two on the side, you can't change that. There's already,
Right.
It's just picking a line, and I think they picked a line that was consistent with
Yeah.
the other 5 feet between.
And Mr. Dole, do you have any knowledge? Was this ever separate lots and they just combined them in use? Or could you not divine that?
We did not do a title search, but it is described in two separate tracks.
Okay, so it is a separate track. At some point, it was described separately.
Correct.
Okay.
And I don't know if you caught what Reverend Kennedy said. They actually, I think you said you get 2 tax bills, correct?
Oh, I missed that. Okay.
No?
Yeah, we got it.
It's taxed separately.
We got a tax bill for the parsonage, but the church is tax exempt. So when you look, that's what started this. When we looked at the diagrams that we could find, you would see like where the parsonage is, there was this diagonal, almost looked like a lot. So we assumed that was a separate lot.
Right.
But then as we did more and more digging, we found out from Northampton County and the city that it was not a separate lot, that it was one and the minor.
It's not a
subdivision.
separate lot now, but we have no idea whether 100 years ago it was.
Any other questions? Any other closing thoughts?
Nothing else. I mean, I think it's a pretty straightforward subdivision in South Bethlehem. To create the legal lot for the either one, you need some dimensional variances in either way. So,
All right. This time we'll go off the record in executive session. right.
Like a meme.
We'll go back on the record. I'm going to have a motion from a member of the board.
I motion to grant the dimensional variances as requested.
Second.
Mr. Schneck,
Yes.
Ms. Wiles Young,
Yes.
Ms. Joseph,
Yes.
Dr. Van Wert.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0 unanimously.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. That wasn't as painful.